Success leaves clues, but so do detours, delays, and missed opportunities. After 13 years in revenue leadership, becoming a top performer at Twilio and AWS, and now as a revenue leader helping coaches scale to 7 figures, I've been reflecting on a critical question. If I could start over knowing what I know now, what would I do differently? The answers might surprise you, because they're not about better sales scripts, marketing funnels, or business models. They're about the fundamental principles and mindset shifts that would have accelerated my journey by years, not months. Today, I'm sharing the 5 things that I would have done differently if I could restart my career, the lessons that cost me the most time, money, and opportunity costs, which meant that I had to learn the hard way. This isn't just about retroactive thinking. These insights are actively guiding my decisions today and helping the coaches and entrepreneurs that I work with to avoid the same costly detours that I experienced. Now let's dive into what I would do differently if I could start my entire journey over again. The first thing I would have done differently is simple but profound. I would have started thinking, acting, and operating as if I was already in the role that I was aiming for. Early in my career, I made a critical mistake. When I was a salesperson, I operated like a salesperson. When I was an appointment setter, I operated like an appointment setter. I stayed neatly within the boundaries of my current position, focusing on mastering my current job rather than preparing myself for the next level. What I've learned is that the biggest hack for accelerated growth is to embody your future role before you officially have it. Don't wait until you get the title to start developing the mindset, skills, and habits required for that next position. If you want to be a $1 million online coach, you need to start operating like one today, not once you actually hit 7 figures. If you want to be a revenue leader, you need to think like a revenue leader now, not when you get the promotion. This doesn't mean being arrogant or neglecting your current responsibilities. It means approaching your current role through the lens of the position that you ultimately want to occupy. Ask yourself, how would someone in my target role handle this situation? What would they prioritize? And how would they think about this challenge? When I finally made this shift midway through my career, my growth accelerated dramatically. I started making decisions not just to solve the immediate problem, but to build the foundation for the next level. I began developing the skills not just for my current role, but for positions 2 or 3 steps ahead. The promotion or milestone that you're working towards isn't the beginning of your transformation, it's the recognition of a transformation that should already be well underway. The second thing that I would have done differently is to play a much bigger game from the beginning. It wasn't until I moved to Dubai and surrounded myself with entrepreneurs operating at a significantly higher level that my thinking expanded dramatically. Being around people playing at a larger scale forced me to reconsider what was possible for my own career and business. This environment shift resulted in much more success, both personally and professionally, than I had experienced in years prior. Now you might be thinking, well, why? And that was because I was playing a game that matched my true potential rather than one that constrained my limited perspective. Looking back, I would have gotten into more compelling rooms much earlier. I would have paid for access to people operating at levels I aspired to reach, and I would have played complete offense in expanding my network and overall exposure instead of taking the conservative approach that felt comfortable at the time. Big decisions like moving countries, investing in high-level masterminds, and putting myself in environments that stretched my thinking didn't happen until later in my journey. These are the types of decisions that ultimately catalyzed my growth, and these were decisions I could have made much earlier, and they would have helped to advance me in my journey at a much more accelerated rate. The reality is that we either rise or fall to the level of our environments. When you're surrounded by people playing small games, you win small prizes. Whereas when you're surrounded by people playing world-class games, your standards, thinking, and results naturally elevate. Don't wait for permission or until you feel ready to step into bigger rooms. The discomfort of being the least accomplished person in the room is precisely the pressure that you need to grow rapidly. The third thing that I would have done differently is to treat myself like a professional athlete from the very beginning of my career. It's only been in the last year or so that I've been becoming maniacally obsessed with optimizing my health for peak performance. Now I train twice a day, 5 times a week, combining Krav Maga and strength training. I work with a personal trainer, I've experimented with a personal chef, I eat clean, wholesome foods the majority of the time, get red light therapy, and receive weekly massages. In other words, I now treat myself exactly how elite athletes treat themselves, with disciplined training, recovery, nutrition, and overall performance management. This approach has given me significantly more energy, more mental clarity, better stress resilience, and overall more capacity to perform at a much higher level with more consistency. It's allowed me to win the marathon and not just just the sprint to sustain higher performance over the long arc of a 13-year career. But I could have prioritized this level of health optimization much earlier. I always valued fitness, but I didn't approach it with the same systematic intensity that I now recognize is necessary for true peak performance. The connection between physical vitality and professional success isn't just correlation, it's causation. Your brain functions better with proper nutrition, with exercise and recovery. Your decision making improves, your energy for high value activity increases, and your stress resilience strengthens. Just as professional athletes know their physical condition is the foundation of their performance, business professionals should recognize that cognitive performance is directly tied to physical well-being. If I could start over, I would have invested in my health with the same intentionality, resources, and strategic approach that I invested in developing business skills, recognizing that the return on this investment compounds across every area of performance. One tool that I've seen for coaches who are obsessive about tracking their own performance is Go High Level, the complete all-in-one sales and marketing CRM platform. I've seen firsthand that its tracking and automation capabilities are very valuable for monitoring progress across multiple areas of life. So I've left a link in the description box below of this video for you to get a completely free trial to try it out for yourself to see how it can help you to optimize your own life. The fourth thing that I would have done differently is to aggressively seek out dedicated mentorship. The fastest path to any outcome is to find someone who has already achieved what you want and to get as close to them as possible. Proximity to excellence is the ultimate accelerator of growth. Yet for years I tried to figure things out independently, learning through trial and error rather than benefiting from the hard-won wisdom of those a few steps ahead of me. This independent approach cost me years of progress that could have been compressed into months with the right guidance. When I finally committed to finding mentors who had achieved what I wanted in various areas of life, health, wealth, and relationships, my growth accelerated dramatically. I could avoid common pitfalls, implement proven strategies, and gain insights that would have taken decades to discover on my own. The key insight that I've gained is that proximity pays. You truly become the sum total of the people closest to you. If you surround yourself with complacent individuals who aren't striving for excellence, that mindset will inevitably influence you. Conversely, if you surround yourself with people who consistently push themselves to become their best, that standard becomes your new normal. If I could start over, I would have prioritized finding ways to serve the needs of those that I wanted to learn from, making their lives easier in exchange for more time and proximity. The value isn't just in the explicit advice that they provide, but in observing how they think, decide, and operate on a daily basis. True mentorship isn't just about occasional advice, it's about having someone who has navigated the path that you're on, who understands the specific challenges that you face, and who could provide contextual guidance that generic advice simply cannot match. The final thing that I would have done differently is to play to win from day one with absolute clarity about what winning meant to me. While I've always been competitive and ambitious, there have been periods where that ambition dimmed. Looking back, these periods almost always coincided with me being in environments that didn't fuel my drive or challenge my thinking. The root cause, however, was that I hadn't taken the time to map out my vision and goals with crystal clarity. I knew broadly what I wanted to achieve and why, but I hadn't defined the specific milestones, metrics, and markers that would guide my daily decisions and actions. I've since learned to categorize life into three fundamental areas: health, wealth, and relationships. This framework provides simplicity while still ensuring comprehensive coverage of what truly matters. The clarity comes from recognizing that there is no end state or final destination in any of these areas, only continuous growth and evolution. There's no point at which you've achieved peak health and can stop improving. There's no amount of wealth that means that you've won and can cease growing. There's no perfection in relationships that signals that you've completed the journey. Life is about maximizing your potential in each of these areas, about continuously raising the bar for what you believe is possible. If I could start over, I would have created much clearer yearly visions for how I could elevate my standards and achievements in each category. This clarity isn't just about setting goals, it's about defining the game that you're playing with such precision that every decision becomes easier because you know exactly what contributes to winning and what doesn't. If I could start my journey to revenue leadership over again with these 5 lessons in mind, the compounding effect would have been extraordinary. By operating as if I was already in my target role, I would have developed the necessary skills and mindset years before actually getting to that position. By playing bigger earlier and surrounding myself with world-class performers, my standards and thinking would have expanded dramatically from the beginning. By treating myself like a professional athlete athlete from day one, I would have had significantly more capacity, more energy, and resilience throughout my journey. By seeking dedicated mentorship sooner, I would have compressed decades of learning into years and avoided countless costly mistakes. By playing to win with crystal clarity about my vision in my health, wealth, and relationships, every decision would have been aligned with my highest priorities, and together, these 5 shifts would have created a compounding effect, with each reinforcing and amplifying the others. The result would have been a dramatically accelerated path to achievements that ultimately took me 13 years to realize. These 5 lessons represent the highest leverage insights from my journey, the things that would have made the biggest difference if I had implemented them from the beginning. But here's the good news. While I can't go back and change my own path, you can apply these lessons starting today, regardless of where you are in your journey. You can begin operating as if you're already in your target role. You can start playing bigger by finding environments that stretch your thinking. You can commit to treating yourself like a professional athlete, optimizing for peak performance in all areas. You can seek out dedicated mentorship from those who have achieved what you want, and you can create crystal clarity about your vision for your health, wealth, and relationships. These shifts don't require special talents, privileged backgrounds, or rare opportunities. They simply require the courage to think differently and the commitment to act accordingly. By the way, implementing these changes becomes much easier with the right systems in place. Tools like Go High Level can help you to track your progress, manage your workflows, and maintain visibility across all areas of your business. So be sure to check out the link I've left in the description box below, where you can get a completely free trial to try out Go High Level for yourself if you're serious about accelerating your own journey. If you found these insights helpful, be sure to hit the subscribe button and drop a comment where you share the most valuable lesson that's resonated with you and what you would do differently if you could start over in your very own journey. I'm Alleyne, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, be sure to keep climbing.